We're going to work through making the laser cut paper die project right now. I'm in small objects inches and I've already set up some layers over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle that is 2 inches by 2 inches. And then I'm going to extrude. So solid, extrude planar curve, straight. I want my extrusion distance to be 2 inches. And here's my cube. What we're going to do now is we're going to flatten that out so that we have a structure that we can work from. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to make sure that my unrolled layer is the active layer. And I'm going to go to Surface, Surface Flattening, Unroll Developable Surface. It's up to you whether you have it exploded or not. For this one, just for the sake of speed, I'm going to have Explode No. And I'm going to hit Enter. So here's my surface that I've just created. I'm going to go ahead and drag that down. I can turn off my 3D layer now. Now what I need to do with this is turn these surfaces into curves. So I'm going to make the curve layer active, and I'm going to go up to Curve, down to Convert or Curve from Objects, and Duplicate Edge. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of those edges and hit Enter. Go ahead and drag that off to the side. And here, the screen is the curves that we're going to work from. Next thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is start putting in the holes. When we're doing a die, we need to keep in mind that the holes opposing sides of the die should equal 7. So I'm going to start with 1 over here. And what I'm going to do is just draw a line from corner to corner. I want to make sure I have O snap-on, end, and midpoint highlighted. And I'm going to use a circle. The center of it, I'm going to anchor to the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and set my diameter to 0.25 inches. Hit Enter. There's my circle. I can get rid of my guideline. Now this one, since these two sides have to equal 7, this one here is going to be 6. But I'm going to go ahead and do 2 on the one next to it. So I'm going to draw a diagonal line again. And I'm going to use my circle again. I'm going to put 1 at either end, 1 in the middle, and 1 at the other end. Now I need to add 1 more circle in here. So what I'm going to do is draw a circle. I just turned on Smart Track. I'm going to hover over this point for a second, hover over that point for a second. Oh, let's hover over this one. Nope, let's try that again. So I'm going to do a circle, hover over that point there, hover over that point there, and then that will allow us to draw one on that line. Now what I'm going to do is highlight all 4 of those circles, and I'm going to use the Distribute command. Distribute is not in any of these menus up here, but you can go to Transform and find it under the Align. So I'm going to hit Enter. For direction, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on this point, click on that point, and we see it centers those 2 on the line. We have to have at least 3 objects in order to distribute. So that's why we have these ones here at the edge, because they anchor the very ends of it. So now I can delete the stuff that I don't want. Opposite of 2 over here is going to be 5. I'm going to do 3 next. And I'm going to use the same process for doing 3 lines. Draw my center one, anchor to the center, go to each end. Only this time I need to add 2 more in here. There's a couple of ways I could do that. I could split this line at the center and then find the midpoint, but I'm going to use Distribute again. So grab my circle. Oh, excuse me. Grab my circle. Make sure Smart Track is on. I'm going to hover over that center point for a minute. Hover over that point for a second. And then I can draw a circle on the line. And do the same thing again. And it does not matter exactly where I draw that as long as those are lined up. Now I'm going to hold Shift and select each of our circles again. Distribute. I want direction. Click on the point. Click on the point. Now they're evenly distributed. Get rid of the ones that I don't want. So those three we'll do this way. Next is going to be 4. 4 is going to be opposite of 3, so it's going to end up in this one. And I'm going to use a slightly different method here. I'm going to switch to the white layer because I'm going to draw myself some guidelines. And in essence, I'm going to create a grid here. Select the white line. Draw another one of those. And then I'm going to do the same thing vertically. These lines on the outside edge are going to be my anchor lines. Okay. And then I'm going to turn off the green layer, just so I don't have to pick which object to select. And I'm going to use distribute again. Only this time it's going to be on the x-axis. So it moves them sideways. Then we will select all 4 horizontal lines. This time it's going to be on the y-axis. So I've just created a grid for myself, and that's what I'm going to use to anchor. Make sure I'm in the green layer again, my curve layer. I'm going to set intersection. And where those grids intersect, that's where I'm going to put my holes. Now I can turn off the green layer, I can delete those, and I just have my holes here that I drew that are distributed properly. Now we can speed this up a little bit for the one that's going to have 5, which is going to be in this box. I'm going to highlight these 3, I'm going to copy them, and then I'm going to do a mirror function. So to make sure they're placed properly, I typed copy, I'm going to click on the lower left corner, go to the lower left corner of that box, and hit enter. Since 5 just needs 2 more over there, I can highlight this one, highlight the lower left one, and I can use the mirror command. I want to make sure that copy is yes. And then if let's turn off Smart Track. Then if I snap to the midpoint here, I have ortho on, snap straight down. I've just quickly created a copy of those. Now for 6, I'm going to use the same method that I did here for the 4. Turn on the white layer. I'm going to draw myself a series of lines. In this case, I need 5 lines so that I get 3 internally. And we're going to hold Alt and use Gumball to make those. And then we're going to do 4 vertical lines, 1 on each edge, and then 2 in the middle. Okay, something like that. Turn this off just so we don't have to select multiple. And I can select all my horizontal lines. Distribute. We're going to distribute them on the y-axis. Then I can do the same thing for my vertical lines. Only this time I'm going to distribute them on the x-axis. And now I have a grid that I can make my circles on. And we'll shut that off just so I can quickly delete all my white stuff. And there we go. So now we need to select all our outside curves. Or actually, before we do that, sorry about that. Before we grab all of our outside curves and join them, we need to figure out where we're going to add tabs. We can use some of those same functions that we use in the paper box project to do that. And then ultimately all our circles and any of our outside lines are going to get moved to the cut layer, which is red 255. Any of our interior lines that we just want to have engraved are going to get moved to the blue layer, which should be blue 255.